The basic of blueprint actors. When it comes to video games, we're creating pieces of data information that we're implanting in the game engine. Here's a basic setup for the blueprint actors. If I walk to this cube, it will say on the top left, collect points to increase your scores. If I leave the cube, the script will say, try to collect many points as possible. This is one example of blueprint actors. So if I enter the cube, it will trigger the strip, leave the cube, and a different script is triggered. Enter the cube, leave the cube, script is triggered. How it works is by looking at the event graph. If I go to blueprints and go to welcome stream. Alright, so here is how the script is triggered. By setting up the event begin play, connecting to the print string, and inputting the ring script or ring codes under the string. So if I play, it will say in the top left, hello, welcome to my game. This is triggered by the code which is event begin play. This setup works similar to the cube, except there were two codes. So if I go to tutorials, which is the white cube, there were two codes. One of them is one of them is the event actor begin overplay and event actor end overlap. Begin overlap is when I enter the cube, it will trigger the script. End overlap is when I leave the cube, it will trigger a different script. And that is how blueprint actors form. The principles of the OOP. Starting off, the first and crucial concept in OOP is abstraction. Simply, when we create objects in memory, we can hide facts or elements behind from other programs that we don't have to worry. In this scenario, remember that cube that tells you to collect points with scores? It is really that simple. So, if I go to this cube, it will say collect points to increase my scores. That is simple as that. The tutorial really tells me to collect points. It's just that simple. Just collect points, you are increasing your scores. You don't have to know what these points will do besides scores. Just collect the points, increase your scores, and move on. What goes in and what goes out. Polymorphism. It's a concept that when using the same word, it will develop into many different things. Yet we know what to expect when using that word. This door here. What can we do about that door standing in our way? We could try to go to the door, but in what way? We go to the door by going through, which I may forgot to input the trigger command, or we go to the door by walking around the door frame. Using the word go can define many different things, just as by walking around the door, going through the door, which I did not, but that is fine. And we can also try to go to the door by just opening the door. Encapsulation, a concept that takes all required elements for an object, combine them as a whole. It's a large amount of code to put to putting everything together with an object. This dragon here, this dragon right here, will be a perfect example to discuss for this video. When making a dragon code, the dragon needs everything that is related to its concept coming together as a dragon. What defines a dragon? It's a dragon that is a reptile and wings, or it can have no wings, yet it still defines a dragon. Moving on to the last concept, which is inheritance. Inheritance is the ability to be based on other objects. When defining objects into a computer, its visual descriptions of what they can do, we begin to define general concepts and creating separate objects that are more specific to that concept. So this dragon here that I've been doing this whole time by switching animations though, it can be defined as a reptile class or more specific, creatures or monster class. Dragons are tied to creatures and it has everything a creature has, such as flying in the air, using the wings it has, such as shown in this video, I switched the animation of the dragon as gliding using its wings. Um, Here's a dragon that's in the idle animation with its tail wagging, and here is the next one, which this is supposed to be the dragon running. Vector, the magnitude and direction. By applying changes to the vector of the rock will move in certain directions and magnitude. As you can see right here, as you can see right here, I'm applying the changed files, well, the same files to the z coordinates, which is 10. And by pressing play, you can see the rock suddenly moves upward, or moving in the upward direction. When adding the same value but to the different coordinates, the rock will move in certain directions, yet it will have the same length um, to where the direction was pointing to. As you can see here, the rock if I apply the same value to the y coordinates and the z coordinates, and by pressing play, the rock will move um, to the right and upwards. And by applying the same value to the z coordinates and our coordinates to the y and z coordinates, the rock will move backwards. Due to this situation, the video may not have the feature shown may not have the feature shown, yet this is all I can do for the assignment. We dealt with adding vectors, but what about the others? If we input the negative values to the vector, well, the negative input to the float vector, the object will flip its pointing direction. If we were to scale, multiplying and dividing, the object will have its magnitude change without changing its own direction. Normalizing the vector will allow objects to be pointing in the same directions, but the length or the magnitude will be changed. So as you can see right here, the rock is moving towards the character that I am controlling. And why would the rock will go for the player? If we check the I don't know, it's gonna oh okay. If we check the blueprints of the rock and following the lecture video, by setting up and applying changes to the actor's location, the rock will have its own starting point and its aim point, which is the player's character. So as you can see here, these are the setups um that I did by following up the lecture video provided. And if we were to see in action, the rock will be heading towards the player that I'm controlling, or in terms of um, game programming, the rock will move to its ending point, which is of course the player. If we look to the sidebar, there are three variables shown: speed, chasing player, and the not moving text. Those three have different types. Speed is float, chasing player is boolean, and not moving text is a string. Shown in this video, I delete the not moving text, which is deleting the string variable. By deleting that, the rock that is supposedly saying this rock is not moving will display the hello script. And as you can see, I decided to bring the not moving text back to the blueprint, connect to the print string, and test it out. And the rock that is not moving will initiate the script that says this rock is not moving. By putting the changes to those variables, the rock can be performed many different ways. The boolean is a value that does one thing if it's true, and does a different thing if it's false. String is a value that indicates the script to appear in the game according to written codes, and float is a value that can store decimal points, meaning it can float to a different point in the digits. So right here, I'm changing. I have three rocks that have two of them are assigned to true and one of them is set to false, as you can see, as you can already see. So I'm making a few of the changes right here. Few changes to the string value or the non-moving text. By saying the false to the chasing player for the rocks, the rock will not move. If we set true to the chasing player, the rock will do one thing, and that is heading straight to where its aim point was. So deleting the rocks. To make a value of frame rate independent, I want to make changes to not the speed of the rock. I want to make changes to units per second on Unreal Engine rather than per frame. So if I were to, okay, so if I were to change to, let's say, 500 units, this is how the rock will move in a certain units per second on the engine. If I would set to 100, the rock will move slowly to how many units per second on Unreal Engine. If I set to, I believe, 10 or 50, the rock will move much more slower units per second in Unreal Engine. If I want the rock to collide and trigger events, I need to make various changes to its values. So here's the setup done by following the lecture video, as you can see right here. So so if we were to hit play, the rock will come to me and it will crash into me. In other cases, the rock just made a collide events to the character that I'm controlling. So as you can see, I attempt to crash into the rock or attempt to collide into the rock. As I attempt to get away from the rock will collide into the haystack. If I were to guide the rock that was chasing me to the door, the rock will collide into the door. That's because that the rock has the rock was set to block all, as you can see right here. And I also check the generate overlap events though, so we'll initiate the collide events for the rock to not overlap. The rock will just hit other objects that will not overlap other objects. And as you can see, I'm about to change to the trigger events and hit play. The rock will overlap me, as you can see right here. Because of the trigger events I set to, the rock will not collide to any other objects, including the character that I'm controlling as. The rock will always overlap the character that I'm controlling. It will overlap the haystack, and it will overlap any objects that is standing in the rock's way. If the rock were set to the trigger, the rock will always overlap. Well, somehow it hits the points. It should overlap the points, but somehow it collides into the points. It should not happen. But if I were to add items in this game, I will spawn an object anything that resembles an item. If it's a project that hits the ground, then the object known as the actor will be destroyed. How would I make an actor from class spawn and or destroy? If I press the number 1 key, an actor will spawn. If I keep pressing the 1 key, it will spawn many actors as I want. So as you can see, if I keep pressing, it will spawn a lot of those fireballs or the actors. If there are too many actors that may cause buffering to the frame rate, I will press the number 2 key, which will destroy the actor.